Nothing works anymore. Tuesday, November 7th. Almost late to work this morning. Ugliness on the tube. This emaciated woman begging on the platform with a sign propped between her stumps that said, "Hands chewed off, please help." A fat, balding man in his 50s tripped over the woman's outstretched leg. Instantly, something seemed to snap in him. In seconds, he was in her face, screaming at her, covering her in spittle and hate and kicking her change all over the platform. She scrambled to her feet and begged him to stop, but he was demanding to know why she was in his way instead of getting a job and making something of her life, as if there are jobs for the biggest surge of amputees and injuries in living memory. The woman's fear fractured into rage, and she began screaming back, saying that she'd been a lawyer before her accident, but this only seemed to make him more angry. He drew his foot back and delivered a powerful kick to her stomach. She made a kind of small animal woof of surprise as the air left her and she crumpled. The balding man kicked her again and again and again, driving his boot into her crumpled body with all his strength. After a couple of minutes, she lay still. It looked as if he was kicking a bundle of rags, but he didn't stop. It wasn't until he turned around to get at her huddled form from a different angle that I saw the tiny thing on his shoulder, giggling and whispering encouragement. Nobody did anything. Half of us didn't even look up from our stims. We were all late. We all had bosses waiting, and the Piccadilly line is barely workable these days, at least until about 10, when they've hosed down the tracks and removed the worst of the dead stuff from the tunnels. Trains keep breaking down. Everybody is late all the time, and everybody's boss is always angry about it. What is everyone even supposed to do? Call the police every time we witness a death or a murder or a mutilation? In London? In 2029? You'd never do anything else. Finally managed to squeeze myself into one of the stinking metal cars, but as usual, there was never any seats free. I wanted to listen to Janai's playlist again, but as usual, no reception. There's supposed to be Wi-Fi on the tube, but it never works. I was quietly seething about that when I noticed a young Asian man, clearly not from the city, was about to engage with an ammu ban right there on the tube. So everyone's immediately staring at him. A couple of people were trying to signal him with their eyes, but the guy was oblivious and beckoned it over, offering up his seat. So we're backing away inconspicuously towards the end of the carriage. We had already spotted all the telltale warning signs, right? The obvious wig, the huge sunglasses, and we're all just averting our eyes. But to this out-of-towner, obviously she just looked like a heavily pregnant, oddly dressed woman. So he motioned her over to do the polite thing. As soon as he looked up and they made eye contact, of course, that was it. His expression went blank. His face went slack under that revolting, petrifying gaze. You try not to look, but it's hard not to. I noticed a kid next to me filming on his stim with a sort of blank detachment. And then, of course, the ammo opens its coat and there's that smell like rotten peaches in her stomach unfurled, and she grasps him in her tentacles, and I heard her abdominal teeth crunch through the bones of his skull as she fed him in face first. And then there's that telltale, his head consumed. She plopped herself heavily into his chair and set about noisily finishing her meal, processing him an inch at a time like a giant meat grinder and writhing in pleasure. All the way from Wood Green to Hyde Park Corner, I could hear that high, keening noise they make while they're peeling a victim. The stench and heat of his excess body fluids filled the carriage as they trickled from between its legs. The floor was steaming red and sticky in minutes. Another clean-up job. The worst part is knowing that they only eat genuinely good people. How do they tell? And that's why, of course, they always disguise themselves as vulnerable people. I mean, in London, they favour the appearance of pregnant women, which is horrible, obviously. but I'll take that over the ones that look like children.
Change here for Bakerloo Line and National Rail services. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
I scrolled the news on my stim, but it wasn't much good as a distraction. The mayor promises to relax the curfew in the spring when the days get longer, saying he can't guarantee London's safety in the dark. Oh shit, Sherlock. The opposition, of course, says it's a failure to provide security in tough times, but they can't say what they'd do differently other than some guff about the greatness of Britain pulling us through. And how anyone can really provide security here, I don't know, but people still seem to cry out for it. Everyone's afraid all the time, makes sense. After Isky Brunt's famous wardrobe malfunction on the red carpet revealed a screaming face in the middle of her back, her tearful video opening up about her struggle has now been watched over 7 million times on TikTok. But now the face is suing Isky for physical and mental abuse, claiming she stuffed cotton wool into its mouth every night. So she denies all claims of abuse, saying she's just trying to get some sleep, but half her brands have already parted ways with her because it's not a good look. Our work on the M25 is going to stretch well into the new year, causing massive delays. 73 new manifestation types have been documented since the start of the year, at least half of which are reported to be coming and going pretty much as they please. Creature-related events now make up more than 65% of calls to the emergency services in urban areas. The Prime Minister's on holiday and can't be reached for comment. That sinkhole that opened up in Walthamstow is still releasing a pretty steady stream of those foot-long flesh-eating insect things after 3 days and shows no signs of stopping, so that's just a thing now. Authorities are calling it a disaster. The first studies on long-term stim use have revealed that the attaching veins can become permanently affected, but only for those using non-brand service providers, apparently. A spokesman for Stim said they can't be held responsible for any damage caused by using what they described as knock-off interfaces and encouraged users to only buy from the incredibly expensive, trusted brands. I don't know what people expect if they buy that black market crap and plug it straight into their neck anyway.